Hi, thanks so much for joining us today. I have a very special visitor here in the Community Foundation. Katie Gerlach is the Executive Director of Better Together 2030, and she's here to talk to us today about the wonderful work she's been doing in our community. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So Project Better Together is really how this work kind of got started. And I think it's really important for us to have an understanding of how we started. So if you could kind of walk us through the beginning.
Absolutely. So Project Better Together started in 2020 as a response to the pandemic. There were a steering committee that met weekly on Fridays and really had an agile response to different events that would happen. So the joint entities, all the municipalities, nonprofit leaders, business leaders, economic development agencies were all in one Zoom room together, and we could hear the pressing needs of the community and we could respond, and we were all there and we were all working together. So that was probably the first year. As we moved into the second year and started looking at recovery, we really thought, what can we do with this trust that we've built? What can we do as a community, and where can we take this going forward? And it might surprise you in a community like Johnson County that we've never actually had a community-wide strategic plan.
Yeah, I was really surprised at that too when learning that. I will add to what you just said. The Community Foundation of Johnson County was part of those Friday morning calls with many other organizations. And while that was such a difficult time, it did feel like we were in a very special moment, getting so many organizations, so many different communities coming together to share resources, to align with problem solving. There were always connections being made during that call to help really get us through that really difficult time. So it was a special meeting for sure.
It really was. So every week, that we would talk about vaccine rollout or testing or schools. What did our schools need? Neighborhood Nests came out of this work. BIPOC business grants came out of this work when it was clear that BIPOC business owners weren't getting PPP funds as quickly or as accessibly as other businesses. We really did take the moment and address the needs that came up at that time.
Yeah, it was great. So moving forward.
Yeah, so then it was, what can we do with all of this trust we've built? What can we do with the collaboration and showing that really it's possible? So we hired a futurist, Rebecca Ryan, and she's a top 50 futurist. She's been in our community before, speaking at annual meetings, but she's really brings a special gift to how she foresees the future.
Tell me what a futurist is.
We've all been there. What is a futurist? It's a healthy skepticism. And when you approach the work with her, you look at trends. You look at trends that are affecting your community, you look at trends that are affecting your state, and you look more broadly at the nation and world. And you isolate those into categories. So you're looking at the economy, you're looking at education, you're looking at environmental changes and concerns, you're looking at water quality. You're really looking at a really breadth and depth of what's ahead for your community in every sector. And you're making sure you're addressing those trends as you're looking at kind of how do we want to approach this shared future together.
Great. And so really using that information to really get out of the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of living in this moment of problem solving, but also a lot of optimism and foresight in, we know what we're dealing with now, but who do we want to be? Where do we want to be in 2030?
So when you say that, I was thinking about the foresight process. And then it's really strategic planning. Sometimes you're just looking at a straight line ahead, but the foresight process that she used is really a circle. So we're looking at we're sensing, we're looking at the phases, then we're imagining and kind of seeing what the future could be. But then we're going to define what that future state is. And then it's time to start doing. And then we're going to keep going. So we're iterating as we go and seeing what our community really needs, all the time using data, all the time looking at our value system and how we want to do the work. We want to have representative leadership. We want to use collaboration. We need to have a growth mindset. And then we're back around again.
Yeah.
The leadership of this group, there was a steering committee. You were a part of that. So many of our nonprofit organizations and community members helped lead this process. But we were really lucky to be led by 3 tri-chairs, Kate Moreland, President Wilson as one of her first acts at the University of Iowa, and Angie Jordan.
Great, multifaceted lenses of people looking at what the needs will be and really making sure that the voice and representative nature of the work really comes together for all of us.
And it did.
So let's jump into doing. What are you doing now? Well, even to back up, so we were fortunate, Johnson County was fortunate to be able to kind of tap you and your expertise to be the director to help move this work forward. So tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, so a lot of times, strategic plans live on a shelf and you check in quarterly, you check in yearly, see where we're going. We didn't want that to happen. So the Community Economic Development Agencies, Think Iowa City, the Business Partnership, ICAD, and importantly, I think it's important to note that you, as the Community Foundation and United Way and other entities, have really supported this Community Development Corporation moving forward. That includes the City of Iowa City, Coralville, North Liberty, and the University of Iowa. So those entities got together and decided this plan can't live on a shelf. We have to activate it. And so that's where I come in to help move this plan through all of our community, through nonprofit agencies, through businesses, through our municipalities, making sure that we are all focused on the 2030 vision.
That's great. I can say from the Community Foundation standpoint, from our board of directors, this was a perfect project for the board to kind of lean into with an unrestricted grant for capacity building for you and this work, because it is an opportunity for everyone in Johnson County to be affected by the plan. And I'm sure you're going to talk a little bit about the pillars, but you can see all of our residents in those. And so our work that we're doing today is an investment for generations to come for our Johnson County residents. So we were delighted to be a partner.
Well, sure. It's been amazing. So the vision is really where we're started. And so, this is what came out of our foresight process.
And I'll tell everyone watching this, so you probably can't see this, it's too close. However, there will be a link to this document available within the materials of this video, so we'll make sure you get that.
So you can see from the vision that we have our guiding principles of how we're going to do this work, and that's representative leadership, collaboration, and a growth mindset. But really, these 5 pillars are our focus areas as a community for the next 7 years. And also there's transformational projects that we need institutional leadership from the Community Foundation, from United Way, from nonprofit entities, but also from the University of Iowa and the cities, Tiffin, Solon. We're ready to take these actions, and your citizens are ready to take these actions. So these are kind of we call them our 5 focus areas, our no kidding, get them done priorities. But really, truly, it's a North Star. And it's finally, our community has somewhere we can point to and all start rowing in the same direction and imagine the impact we can have when we do that.
Yeah, that's great. So lots of information here, and it's a big undertaking.
It is.
But at this point, we really want everyone to know about the project a little bit and the work that's being done and how they can kind of join in. So how would you recommend anyone watching this, if they really wanted to dive in and see the plan, where should they go?
So check out the plan, look at the priorities, look at the pillars, but also see where your community organization that you're involved in, maybe you're in Rotary, maybe you're in a church youth group, and maybe you're already doing some work and you could use some support in your tree planting project. Let us know and we'll get involved. Email info@bt2030.org. Reach out to Shelly at the Community Foundation. She'll make sure we're connected. But also, we're going to be forming work groups around these 5 pillars. And so when you log into our website, you'll have the opportunity to express your interest in getting involved and also join those work groups that are forming if you want to personally be involved.
So tell me again, what's your website address to get this?
BT2030. So it's www.bt2030.org.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah. Well, I just look forward to involving everyone that we can. I know that really nobody owns this plan, and we all own this plan at the same time. So no singular entity is responsible, and yet we're all responsible.
That's a good way to put it. Well, thank you for all your wonderful work that you are doing. You've been hitting the ground running with this work. So just on behalf of all of us, we thank you for your great work. And if you're interested in learning more, feel free to contact us at the Community Foundation. We'd be happy to connect you. But again, that website is bt2030.org. Katie, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.